I've got a question about the Trans-Texas Corridor, or whatever it happens to be named right now. It looks to me like they pretty much dropped the name and the idea of it, but it's not clear to me that the idea of having something that runs from one end of Texas to the other in several different spots is really a dead issue. What you were talking before about TxDOT and the commissioners that are in charge of it, as opposed to listening to people. And a couple of years ago, my husband and I went to about 7 or 8 different TTC meetings that TxDOT put on, and the people overwhelmingly along this area were against having toll roads instead of having roads that were publicly funded, including not taking money away from 35 in Waco and instead using it to supplement these other toll roads. What's happening with that at this point? Is this still something that's going to be coming in under the covers and we should be looking out for it? Or, I mean, is there still a major plan to make all of our highways, including federal highways, toll roads?
Yes on the first one, no on the second one. Rick Perry's priority is to build a Trans-Texas Corridor. And he had an announcement a few months ago saying that the Trans-Texas Corridor is no more. Essentially what he meant was we're going to call it something else.
That's what I thought, yeah.
No, it's his priority. He wants to see it done. I think he sees it as his legacy. And as long as he's the governor and he's appointing those commissioners, then that's what the TxDOT's priority will be.
What's your viewpoint on that?
My viewpoint is, and I told them at the very beginning, until they start listening to the folks who are affected by that project, they're not going to get it done, because I had the experience when I was first elected in 1993 of dealing with a similar issue on a high-speed train. And the attitude was, we're going to build a train whether you like it or not. It's coming somewhere around here. And we said, no, that's not the way this works, because this is, our community, and we have vested interest, just like you do in Chocolate Mountain. We do have a vested interest in how this thing is going to be developed. Why don't you put it over here where it doesn't hurt anybody, where you already have a right-of-way or something like that? Well, they ignored it, and we killed it. We were able to kill that thing. And so far, we've been able to stall off the Trans-Texas Corridor in rural Texas. They have the loops. They're building the loops around the urban areas, and eventually they're going to want to connect the loops with a corridor through rural Texas. The folks in my district don't want that to happen, almost unanimously. And so I've been doing what I can to halt that process. But all I can tell you, as long as Rick Perry is the governor, it will be a priority for TxDOT. Now, if we are successful in changing the process, which
Or governor,
then we might, the bottom line is whether we have it or not, if the folks back home have a say in how it's developed, then it will be a far better project. That applies to your Chalk Mountain issues.
So you're going to call TCEQ today? Your senator. You want to just do that now?
I think you've heard.
I have them on my speed dial. I talk to them almost daily. My staff talks to them daily. So we will certainly. And I have. If you think I haven't done it, I have.
You should have seen the look on his face earlier today when I said they use Scotch tape on
That's just untrue.
I just have a question about what she was talking about, the Trans-Texas Corridor. First, I want to know, does he have so much support that is indicative to him that this is going on? And if not, where, and I ask this respectfully, where do the elected officials get off thinking that they can leave legacies if it is not for the good of the state or the country or the city or the county that they're in? I mean, if people do not want this, what makes him think that this is the right thing to do? Is it more a pride issue? Is it more, I'm sorry if this is a stupid question, but this is, I mean, with what's going on in the country today and hearing this type of thing, it just makes me wonder, where do these people lose track? of why they've been elected for these positions?
Well, I'm quite sure that the governor believes that the project is a worthy project. I think he thinks it's the right thing to do. And I don't think anybody can argue that we need some serious work on our transportation issues.
Yeah.
The issue is how are we going to do it? And his way of doing it is just contrary to what you and I think needs to be done. And here's a fundamental problem that we're going to have in rural Texas and this state. As we redistrict, as I've talked about earlier, what we will find this next time is there are far, far more people moving in the cities than there are in rural Texas. As your community is growing here, that's not growing nearly as fast as they are in Dallas, Fort Worth, and Houston, and San Antonio, and Austin. When we redistrict, there will be more people there, and there will be more legislative districts in the cities than there will be in rural Texas. This process has been ongoing for a number of decades now. We're hitting critical mass. We're outnumbered, and we're going to be outnumbered even more next time. So, we have to find new ways to do things to make sure that people hear our voice. And that's where redistricting kind of is a very important process. Folks, we've used our time. I think we've used it very well. Thank you very much for coming and visiting with me. And I'll hang out for just a few minutes in case anybody wants to talk privately. Thank you very much.